What's going on today, YouTubers? Welcome to another edition of Walking Reviews. Today we're going to be looking at a custom knife. It's a custom knife that is very similar to a knife that you've seen on my channel before because it's the same model. So this is the Vector V2 by Richard Rogers. And the reason I decided to show this knife, even though I've already shown a Vector V2 by Richard Rogers, is because it's so much different than the first one. Yeah, the knives are almost completely different. I mean, other than obviously the design, the shape and so forth, they're very different knives. So, plus I thought you guys just might enjoy seeing a cool knife. So I'll go ahead and real quick, I'll go over the specs for you. Blade length is 3 1/4 inches of CTS XHP. I believe that is his preferred steel. This one has a acid stonewash, very good at hiding wear, although it tends to show like residue and stuff. See if I can get a good, yeah. Anyways, when you've cut open a bunch of boxes, you can usually see the residue of whatever you've been cutting. But once you clean the blade off, you're good to go. It doesn't really show scratch patterns all that well, so good at hiding that. You wouldn't think that would be really important for somebody collecting custom knives, but I don't like to just collect them. I like to use them in my day-to-day life. So that can hurt the resale value when you've got scratches on a beautiful set and finish. As I've learned, you know, the hard way plenty of times. So I actually prefer a finish on a blade that's made for use. We have a kind of a clip point blade design here. Yeah. Not quite drop point. I'd say that's clip point. Maybe it's just, it could be just like an effect of the top swedge that's making it look like a clip point, and maybe it is just a drop point. Actually, you know what? Let's call it a drop point. Fuck it. Let's be crazy. Let's say it's a drop point blade. The original one that I showed with the bamboo finish and this one, both really excellent slicers. They're not the thickest blade stock to begin with, and they have a fairly high flat grind that leaves them very thin behind the edge. So one thing I do always appreciate from custom makers is a knife that is actually really functional for what they're made for, cutting. And this one is absolutely great at cutting. It has a hair popping edge on there, even though this was technically pre-owned, this knife. I think it was just bought new and then sold at a markup. So as far as the pre-owned goes, I doubt the original buyer used it at all. I think he just, you know, wanted to flip the knife, which, hey, that's okay, no big deal. Let's go ahead and get into the handles here. Really excellent carbon fiber. Now there's a lot of carbon fiber in the knife market nowadays because it's so light and strong, but I love the way he has done this. Most guys or companies, whatever, using the carbon fiber will polish it and leave it very smooth. This is not. This is textured and ridged, which gives you a really great tactile feel in the hand. I doubt that it's going to do a whole lot for the grip, but it feels really nice. It feels like it's helping your grip. Plus, I think it looks cool. You know, it still has that shimmery effect that your polished carbon fiber would have. Maybe not as pronounced, but I think it feels a whole lot better than polished carbon fiber. This is a liner lock, but it's a nested liner. There is no liner on the show side here, just on the lock side. And that's actually held in place by the hidden hardware for the pocket clip, which I thought was kind of ingenious. Instead of just kind of like dovetailing it into the the carbon fiber, he secured it, and then at the same time hid the hardware for the pocket clip, which I think I mentioned this in the original Vector V2 video. I love this pocket clip. This should be the roadmap for other custom makers making their 3D milled titanium pocket clip. It doesn't have to be really thick, so that we know it's a milled 3D clip. You know, if you want to, leave a thicker area, but then really thin it out, because that makes it a whole lot easier on our pockets. Makes it a lot easier to pull in, to put it in the pocket and then pull it out. It's just, I think, in my opinion, superior in every way. There aren't many people that I know that need an incredibly strong pocket clip. You know, it just doesn't serve much of a purpose other than, you know, you get this really big thick piece of titanium and everybody knows that you milled the clip. So this does have a lanyard area, as most knives seem to do. And it's also got that really cool mini back spacer with kind of like the gear pattern. Let's see, really cool decorative pivot. This is another area that the knife differs. Let's see if I can give you a better view. There you go. Yeah, I mean, it still torques, but it just looks really customized, which is another preference of mine. You know, use the hardware that everyone has the tools for, but make it look like your own, which he did. And he also put on a really cool titanium pivot collar there. That this serves a double purpose, this pivot collar. One, so that the screw isn't directly screwing into the carbon fiber. It basically serves as a collar and a washer. So this is like a dished out piece of titanium, this collar, that the screw sits on top of. It's almost like if a washer had walls on the side of it. That's the best way I can describe it. And I love the purple accents on the black. I think that looks fantastic. I saw another one of these with blue, and I almost pulled the trigger on the blue one, but I'm glad I went with the purple. I just think it looks a whole lot better in my opinion. So the flipping action, it's on cage bearings, and the flipping action is freaking phenomenal. Just so good and so smooth too. The blade pretty much drops closed. You just need a little bit of a shake in there. Boom. The flipper tab here is also very possibly my favorite flipper tab out of the custom makers. It's just placed really well, very high up on the handle, so you can see that the handle just kind of drops into the tab there. It doesn't like stick out straight or, you know, look funny. Got a really nice run of jimping on there to grab your finger, and it's small enough to be unobtrusive when this is in your pocket. This whole thing has a very minimal pocket presence because it's extremely thin, and it's not wide at all, and it doesn't have a giant flipper tab sticking out, so very minimal pocket presence. And it sits fairly low in the pocket as well. You get maybe 1/4 of an inch sticking up out of the top of your pocket. Another thing that's different on this one than the bamboo finish Vector V2 I have, this is rounded. You can see there, this carbon fiber has been contoured to fit really well in your hand. Extremely comfortable knife to hold. Whereas the bamboo one, because he had to do all that milling to get the bamboo finish, it's more flat. In fact, it's almost concave, which looks really awesome. And it's not like it's a pain in the ass to use, but this is just way more comfortable to use. So as far between the two of them, I'd say this one is the one I probably use the most. Like if I wanted to show somebody one of the knives, like, I think they would probably find the bamboo one cooler looking, but this one is way more comfortable to use. Let's see. Have I forgotten anything else? I don't think I've forgotten anything. As far as the cage bearings go, they also sit on a washer so that they don't have to directly interact with the carbon fiber. Okay, let's talk about the value. Why not? So like I said, I picked this up secondary market price, and secondary market price it was about 1,800 bucks. So a little bit cheaper than the bamboo finish one, which was like 2,000, but still like way expensive. And I still feel like I got a pretty good deal. You're only getting them from, only one person is making these, that's Richard Rogers, and he's got a crazy loyal following, and for good reason. I mean, all of his designs are really well thought out, and he's known for having great flipping action on his knives. So, but that means the secondary market prices tend to be a little bit crazy. If you were to get this directly from Richard, I think you would pay about 800 bucks, at which point I would say, yeah, great value. Everything is handmade. The fit and finish is absolutely flawless. You know, he's paid attention to all the details. And it's such a unique and fun knife to own. I say at his prices, they're an amazing value. At the secondary market prices, harder to justify 1,800 bucks. I paid it because I really wanted the Vector V2 in carbon fiber. Ever since I got the bamboo one, I was like, man, this would be such an amazing piece in carbon fiber. So when I saw it, I jumped on it. But that's my poor impulse control. So as far as value in the secondary market, I think it's still there for collectors. But that's probably about as much as I could justify it. As amazing a knife as it is, 1,800 bucks is, you know, that's you know, you're getting a collector's item at that point. So, all right, guys, that's gonna wrap this video up. I have a giveaway coming up for 500 subscribers and a knife sale, so stay tuned. All right, guys, take it easy.